Saints look hopeless against the Bears. How do they respond? Ladies and gentlemen, Nicholas, New Orleans football is the backdrop. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Bears game, not fun. It is what it is. It's Tuesday. We got to recap it. We got to get through this together. So let's do it.
Saints did not play a good football game today. It's another loss, but I think this is the first one that kind of falls in a different bucket. Now, Seattle was over there too a little bit, but this one was very, very disheartening, I think, for the Saints for a number.
This was what we call in the business futility. All right. The Seattle game was so out of control, so fast. I mean, punt blocks, punt returns, like that kind of stuff doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like that's one of those things where it's like, all right, I mean, whatever. If this is going to happen, it's going to happen. The Bears was more of just a beatdown. Just like, I mean, watching them run at will, the turnovers, a punt block, a punt return feels a lot different than fumbles and interceptions. Not being able to run the ball, and then the injuries. Right? Losing McCoy for the season, losing Kendra Miller for the season. I don't really care about Dennis Allen being on the sideline, but some people obviously do. I could care less. But I think this was the moment where I think reality set in. I think this was the moment where a lot of truths became very apparent. Truth number one, this is a long rebuild. Truth number one, this rebuild ain't fun. Okay? This is just the nature of the beast. This is just what it is. Okay? Last year, the New England Patriots went 4-13. 13 losses is a lot of losses. They were in a rebuild. They fired Gerard Mayo. Drake May was in his rookie season. A lot of, whatever. 13 losses, 13 weeks of losses. It ain't fun. Right now, it's fun being a Patriots fan, right? Wasn't fun during those 13 weeks. Saints are in that bucket. Saints are in the bucket of it's a rebuilding year, young players, rookies at positions are moving and shaking. Some veterans are being replaced by young players. Each week is its own story, and that's kind of how you have to look at it. I'm seeing a lot of people who are like, oh, we're 1-6. The record is irrelevant. We're not a playoff team. The conversation before the season was, is it a 4-win team, 5-win team, 6-win team, highest ceiling, 8-win team, whatever. That was the conversation. The conversation was never, can we win the South? Can we win 10 games? Can we do this? Can we do that? So, I mean, you got to look at it week to week, day to day, game to game, quarter to quarter. And that is a very different way of viewing a team and viewing a season and viewing all that, for sure. And this was the game where I think everyone realized, like, damn, it is what it is. The second truth I think people realized very quickly in this game is that, like, the big name players or the older players or the core players or the whatever, they're just not the answer anymore. Leaning on whoever, it's just not good enough, or it's not enough. And another weird reality is that more than likely, who will change the future of this team isn't even in the NFL. More than likely, who is really going to impact this team moving forward is still playing in the SEC, or still playing in the Big Ten, or still playing wherever. Like, we're kind of digging in the sandbox trying to find, a diamond or whatever, but it's just sand. And it's just, we don't even need to really dig. We just kind of sit and wait.
Number of reasons. And I think this is the first time that it's really felt like, oh, wow, there's real levels of despair here, and it can get worse. The nice thing about this rebuild to this point is that you could lie to yourself about it, and there's bright spots, and you can focus on the bright spots, and you can look at the Bills game and say, hey, look, they were close to beating the Bills, or at least we're in the game with the Bills, not close to beating them, but we're in the game with the Bills. Or, oh, hey, Arizona came down to one play, or, oh, hey, San Francisco was close, or, oh, hey, the Patriots won, but if this had happened or this had happened, Spencer Rattler would have these positive things on his resume. He played a great game. Oh, Jonas Sanker played a great, like, there was always something to hold on to in each one of those games. Today, there's nothing to hold on to.
Yeah, but kind of like what I said before, they're not linked. It is day by day, week by week, game by game, whatever. You can't throw out what happened in San Francisco or Arizona or Buffalo or whatever. You can't, or New York. You can't throw that out because of Chicago. Chicago happened. It was what it was. It is what it is. San Francisco happened. It was what it was. It is what it is. Arizona happened. New York happened. You know, I mean, yeah, this was a horrible game. This was a terrible game to watch. It was a miserable 4 hours. But we're on to Tampa. We're on to Tampa Bay. Similarly, if we beat Tampa Bay, we don't need to turn around and be like, wait a minute. Are we freaking back, ladies and gentlemen? Is the agenda back on? It's just that game. And you got to view it and analyze it and recap it in a game-by-game basis.
It's the former coach and the staff he's on just dominating, just kicking in the teeth of the Saints, just running down the field, 5-yard run after 10-yard run, after 20-yard run, after 24-yard run, after just moment after moment, just kicking their teeth and being in the red zone and just literally dragging a pile of people down to the 1-yard line. It was an ass kicking. And this one just felt a little bit different. And you look at the schedule then, and it's like, oh man, Baker Mayfield and the Bucs are next, and the Rams are next. And it's tough. And it lets you know, like, there's a difference between being a Saints fan up until this point in the season and being a Jets fan up until this point in the season. Jets are hopeless. The Saints are kind of a team that have maintained some positive momentum despite not getting results. Today, there's none of that. The brakes were hit. And
I guess that's where I kind of push back. Like, yeah, in this 4 quarters, but in totality, if you're averaging everything out, a Saints fan should absolutely look differently at this team than the Jets look at their team. 100%. Just like the Dolphins fans should look at their team differently than the Saints do. There's so many different variables. And it cannot just be, I think that's too much of a knee-jerk reaction, again, one way or the other. If we beat the Bucs, I'm not saying we're going to, but if we were to beat the Bucs, it should not swing so violently the other way that we throw out what happened against Chicago, right? Like they're all part of the story. They're all part of the long-term story. They're all part of the big picture. It's not a snapshot kind of thing. Like, it's not. No 4 quarters are more important or less important than any other 4 quarters. You just take them all.
It's just it's a nasty feeling today. This one feels different than the other ones. And you know, it is a rebuild, and these come in rebuilds, and you're gonna have bad days, but I think it's just been fortunate for the Saints that their only bad day, you could kind of just blame it on that third phase. Oh, special teams screwed them and did this. Well, today it wasn't just special teams. It was the defense. It was the offense. It was missed field goals.
Yeah.
It's a nasty loss. Break it all down. Here comes my guy Trip from Soldier Field. Joined now by my guy Mike Triplett from Soldier Field for the Shea Bear segment of the show. Shea Bear, the Earhart Agency. Make sure you're hitting up the Earhart Agency. On your worst days, Shea Bear will be there for you. I don't know if Spencer Rattler had this performance insured, but definitely. Look, we were highly complimentary of him last week coming off that Patriots game. Looked amazing in it. Very, very clean game. Today was about as dirty as it gets. 3 picks.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It was Rattler's worst game as a pro. I mean, could have been 8 picks. Could have been 7 interceptions. No doubt about it. Rattler was not good in this game. There was Quincy Riley and Chris Olave. That's it. That was the only players this game that were like, all right, that's pretty good. Chase Young was good too. But I'm sure there was others. I'm just, But everything else was just not there. Running game wasn't there. Rattler was all over the place. I've said this multiple times, but this game felt like a bizarro version of what we've seen so far for the season. We were great against the run. In this game, horrible against the run. We were horrible against the pass. This game, good against the pass. We were unable to run the football this game. We ran the football before. We pushed the ball downfield this game and turned the ball over. Previously, we were short to intermediate and never turned the ball over. It was like the bizarro evil version. It was like when the Green Ranger was turned evil by Rita Repulsa. And the Power Rangers had to fight him off. That's what it felt like. It was like bizarro Saints.
4 picks, was it? What was it? 3 or 4? I'm
3 picks, 1 loss.
3 picks, 1 dropped, and then the fumble.
1
4
pick
turnovers.
that was in the hands of the receiver or the defender until the other defender knocked it out of his hands. So,
and then there was another ball that should have been picked off.
There could have been 5. There could have been 4, 5, or 6 picks. No problem. No doubt about it.
In this game, not a good game for him. What'd you kind of make of it?
Well, it's funny that you joke that he didn't have insurance. I mean, he does. That's what the first 6 weeks of this season were. It bought him this bad game. Like, I don't think we're going to have Spencer's getting benched at halftime. Spencer's getting benched on Tuesday. I don't think we're there yet with him because he had bought so much goodwill and so much good graces by avoiding this game.
Agreed.
But the door got opened back up again for scrutiny. So he needs to prove that this is a one-off. I think he'll get the chance to prove that this is a one-off. And for a little while there, I actually thought, he was showing some good response to adversity. But I think the biggest disappointment, this is something I know you talked about during the live broadcast, and you've been talking about all along, is it's like, okay, Spencer, now open it up a little more. Like, this team doesn't do anything on 3rd and long. This team doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, they were actually okay down the field. Like, that's where most of their success came from, was like deep shots down the field, pushing the ball. Olave all of a sudden in the red zone. Conversely, like I was saying, where before this game, the best parts of the offense was Spencer Rattler running. This game, he didn't run at all. Right? It was like, he had 2 carries for like 12 yards. It was one of those things where it's just nothing that we had seen before was in this game, and everything that we didn't see was in this game.
Down the field, he's been relying on not turning it over. Well, what happens if you do air it out more? What happens if you take more chances? What happens if you get more aggressive? And he kind of failed that test, and so that's really disappointing. You wanted to see him go down the field more, and there was even a line from Kellen Moore about why they did the hook and ladder on 3rd and 20, and he goes, downfield passes haven't really been an option for us on those plays this year, so we had to come up with something. It's like, this was like proof today that that's not, I don't want to say it's not part of his game, but he hasn't shown his coach that he can trust him to make that part of his game. So that is absolutely going to have to be part of the formula if Spencer Rattler wants to keep developing and try to hang on to this job. Is he needs to prove that he can't just win. A lot of them said 1st and 2nd downs were bad today, so he was in bad positions all day.
Yeah, I mean, this was another situation where there's a lot of like 2nd and 15, 2nd and 12, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20. Yeah, I mean, it just was not good across the board.
Long, that's true, but he needs to show you that he can't just win when you can keep your game plan conservative.
So I think some of our listeners get frustrated with me specifically because, like, I won't coronate someone after a performance, and I'm not gonna throw somebody into the just into the sewer after one bad game. So this is where I'm at with it. We saw it. He went out. He tried to do it. He made a ton of mistakes, and it was an absolutely awful performance. Now, what does he do next week? Can he come?
Yeah, and that's it. Same with Chris Olave last week. Chris Olave has the drops, and he's he's who everyone all week, including me, was like, look, this you can't do that. You can't just drop passes. You can't drop touchdowns. We can't do that. And then, but it's not bench him. It's not trade him, cut him. It's like, all right, you had this game, respond. You're a professional. Spencer Rattler, same thing. He had 6 average to above average games, has a horrific game. All right, respond. That's it. There is no need to coronate or throw someone, release. This is not build the statue or release the player. And that is like, why, brother, turn that frown upside down. I mean, and that's just kind of where we are with analysis, or not analysis, but like that's where we are with reaction. And the fan base is release or build a statue. That's it. I mean, I streamed this game for 4 hours, and if I would have had a pulse, like a whatever those things are called in the hospital, it was constantly build the statue, release, build the statue, release them, build the statue, release them, nonstop. I mean, the whiplash was out of control. It was crazy. And that's just kind of how it is. We saw it with Chris Olave. We see it with all kind of players. And that's just not the move. The move now is, all right, Rattler, you're going to get a chance against Tampa. You're going to get a chance more than likely against the Rams and the Panthers. Let's see what you can do. And if it's the same or worse or slightly better or whatever, then Tyler Shough will come in during the bye in the Atlanta game, and then we move on to Tyler Shough. And if Tyler Shough throws 4 interceptions against Atlanta, it's not going to be, all right, guys, trade him, release him, wasted draft pick. It's going to be, okay, let's see how you respond and what happens the next game. Now, if Rattler throws 3 picks against Tampa and then he throws 2 picks in the first half against the Rams, yeah, maybe they do pull him. Because maybe at that point it's like, man, you got to get off the field. You know, like, you're not doing yourself any favors. You're not doing the team any favors. You're a detriment. Like, those are outstanding circumstances. But the way to do it is just ride the wave.
Back from it. Can he go and say, okay, I was behind on this throw, so let me fix it on this one. I was behind on this throw, or too far on this one down the field. Let me fix it. The scramble drill was off. Let me see how I fix it. I got into a bad situation in crunch time, and I threw the ball it looked like quadruple coverage on that last one.
Yeah, the fourth
How
down.
do I fix it? The Byard one. Like, okay, you made the mistakes. Can you make the corrections? Because he's not going to be the first quarterback to have an awful performance, and he's not going to be the last, and he's not going to be the first guy.
Yeah, I mean, granted, these guys have a lot more equity built up. But like, Sam Darnold was absolutely horrific against the Texans. Baker Mayfield had one of the worst games I've ever seen him play against the Detroit Lions. And I guarantee you, there's not conversations about what's wrong with Baker Mayfield. Is Baker Mayfield a fraud? Is Baker Mayfield not who we thought he was? Should the Buccaneers look at a quarterback in the draft? It's just shit game, chalk it up, move on. That's where you're at. And again, yeah, those guys have a lot more equity built up. I'm not comparing Spencer Rattler to them, but it does happen. Absolutely. Good quarterbacks can have bad games. Great quarterbacks can have bad games. Bad quarterbacks can have bad games. Happens. The question is this going to be a consistent thing? That's the difference. The difference, a great quarterback is not completely, immune to a bad game. But a great quarterback is not going to stack up bad game after bad game after bad game after bad game. You can look at any quarterback, even good quarterbacks. You can look at them where they're just lost. They just don't have it. They're throwing picks. They're not seeing it, missing receivers, whatever. And then the next game, they're good. Right? It's about what you do in the long term. It's about what you do with multiple opportunities. I'm not saying to give Spencer Rattler 2 years to figure it out, but that starts with next game.
Dennis Allen absolutely smoked, and he's not going to be the last. So let's see what he does from here. But I'm with you. I think it felt like the door was closing. I think on our Friday show, I was like, hey, look, my bold take for the season is that I don't know that we're going to see the other guy play a game this year. It at least feels way more possible after seeing this. Yeah. And probably my worst take of the season was that I didn't know that. I felt like Spencer would never put himself in a position to be in a meltdown. And I don't know if I classify this as a full blown meltdown, but
this was a nuclear meltdown. Yeah, I mean, this was pretty close to me playing out there, where I'm just slinging it. Like, I'm just letting it rip, and then whatever happens, happens. And that's kind of what it looked like with Rattler, where Rattler said, and he kind of went back to like that gunslinger. Rattler is the most not gunslinger of all time, where he is kind of a gunslinger, but at the same time, he's overly safe, overly cautious, overly aware of not turning the ball over. This was like he said, you know what? F it. I'm letting it rip. I don't know if he watched too many Brett Favre highlights or what, but he just said, I'm letting it go. And you're just not seeing the field if you're throwing into some of the spots he threw in. I mean, some of the picks or almost picks were just double coverage, cornerback right there. And the Mason Tipton interception, he threw it behind him. Like, he was just spraying. And, sometimes you're pressing, sometimes you're on tilt. I get on tilt all the time, like when it comes to gambling. I got on tilt Sunday when I was gambling because I got crucified in the Bears game because every prop went against me, and I just started pressing. I was just like, you know what? I'm taking the Chargers, and now I'm taking this team, and now I'm taking this team, and you're out of your head. What you need to do is take a step back. What you need to do is just calm it down, but sometimes you get so amped up and riled up and on tilt that it's just you lose the plot. Like if you play video games or whatever, like sometimes you're in a game of Madden and it's 28-0, and then all of a sudden you're just doing Hail Mary after Hail Mary and you're doing all engaged blitz, and then next thing you know it's 56-0 and you spiked your controller, and now you got to go to Best Buy and buy a controller, and it's embarrassing. And you're walking into Best Buy, you got tears running down your face, and you're trying to buy a controller. So it's a horrific scene. And that's what it felt like with Rattler in this one. It felt like he kind of was just like, just like falling on the sword. Just F it. If I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down in a blaze of glory. And it was anything but.
It was on the path to it. If it wasn't, 4 turnovers is, 4 turnovers is probably classified as a meltdown.
It was a
I think he
meltdown.
kind of saved himself with that, that great drive to close out the first half. That really changed the perception of things. Hits a touchdown from
Oh, at that point, it's kind of in front of you. At that point, you score there, you score to start the half. If you get a stop, score again, all of a sudden, it's like a 4-point game. I think we were down 9, right? So it would have been, like something like that. So we would have been down like a score, but he turns the ball over. And there was a moment where it's like, okay, the Bears are whatever. Like they're not like you can't beat them, and you're playing that so bad up to that point. All of a sudden, you got the ball with a chance to make it a 1-possession game. Anything can happen, you know what I mean? And then the turnover happens, and then we can't stop the run, and
the red zone. That was good to see. The other one was from the 21. That's basically the red zone too. So good to see those moments. We've been harping on those quite a bit, but Manny threw a lot of picks, and I will say that if we're going to do a DNA analysis of this, I think you're seeing the same DNA in this game that you saw in the Seattle game. The Seattle game's easy to forget because those turnover-worthy plays didn't turn into actual turnovers, but they were there for the taking. You create a bunch of opportunities for turnover-worthy plays. It's kind of like baseball where your batting average on balls in play is sky high, and you can look at it and say, hey, that's going to come back down to earth. I mean, his turnover-worthy plays, the percentage in these types of situations, really high. Dance with the devil. Devil got him today.
I mean, here's what we know about this team. And I'm not splitting the atom here. The Saints are a below average to bad team. They need the game to go their way, especially on the road, especially against not the bottom dwelling teams. Against the Giants, the Panthers, the Titans, the Jets, the Dolphins. Like, yeah, okay, you can kind of get away with stuff. But against average to above average to good to great teams, the Saints have to have everything go their way. So if they're turning the ball over, if they're missing field goals, if they're wasting opportunities, if they're losing possessions, it's going to get ugly incredibly quick, a la Seattle, a la Chicago. If everything is kept tight and nice and neat, San Francisco, Arizona, the Bills even, where, all right, yeah, I guess, okay, we're right there. But once things start to slip, and that's not just with the Saints, that's with any bad team, you aren't good enough to even really win the game. You definitely aren't good enough to win the game with a -3 turnover margin, with missed field goals, with 0 for 2 on 4th down, with punt blocks and punt returns and things like that. That's how things spiral out of control.
Yeah, look, and it's not just an excuse for him when they say, because he was part of the guy, he was also making mistakes in early downs, but like, he's not built, this team is not built, this offense is not built for it to be 3rd and long the entire game, to be down by 14 the entire game. And unfortunately, that's the reality he's going to be faced with most weeks. This one worse than others. But yeah, I mean, like, the wheels really come off when you have to throw the ball downfield.
The wheels come off with the turnovers, but the wheels also come off, or the wheels aren't even on the vehicle whenever you can't run the football. When you are a bad football team and you're trying to keep things close, and you're trying to keep things tight, and you're trying to have tempo, and you're trying to win the time of possession and do all that, if you can't run the football, I mean, what are you going to do? It's not going to happen. So the fact that we couldn't run the football at all, not even with Rattler, ugly.
When you have to throw on 3rd and 20, when no one's pass protecting for you, who's getting hit. I think this probably had to have been a season high in sacks too, I would think, right? I should look that up to see what happened.
It's got to be.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like against the Giants, he was sacked once, or no, he wasn't sacked at all. And then against the Patriots, I think he was sacked once. So again, it's like another thing that was not happening this season was Rattler was getting sacked, whether it was because of the offensive line or his own ability to evade pressure. And then all of a sudden he's sacked 4 times. Like things like that, where not only was it against the norm of what we've seen this season, it was like the furthest. I mean, if you're doing a bell curve, I'll do one real quick for y'all. But like when you're doing like standard deviation, so I mean, you're not going to find this anywhere else. But like when you're doing standard deviation, okay, like you have a bell curve, and a bell curve, the whole point of it, like when you're doing your data or whatever, is that was actually kind of a bad bell. Let me do another one. But that one was like the worst bell curve you've ever seen. But a bell curve, it looks kind of like that, right? And so like if you're doing a standard deviation, no one is going to be able to teach you this besides me. But if you're doing standard deviation, right, you have like, this is your bell curve, okay? And you got your lines down here. 98% of your data points are going to be like right here. Okay. They're right in the middle. You're going to have some outliers out here, whatever. But if you're really like studying the data and you're really trying to figure something out, you eliminate the outliers because they're not doing anything. You want to know what are the data points all in here on the bell curve, and everything kind of evens itself out. It's like an even distribution up and even distribution down, and then a majority of stuff in the middle, right? This is an outlier. Like 240 yards of rushing against, that's an outlier. Now, that's not to say you ignore it. That's not to say that it didn't happen. But in totality, like if you asked me, are the Saints good against the run? I would say they're above average against the run. And that sounds crazy after they just gave up 240 yards. But if I'm looking at the bell curve, I've got, good performance, good performance, good performance, good performance, good performance, horrific performance. So they're not as good as these performances maybe, but they're certainly not as bad as this performance. So they're probably somewhere, somewhere there, like somewhere average to below average, maybe even slightly above average. So that's kind of how this felt. It just felt like an anomaly across the board in a lot of different ways.
There's no way he's going to take it down 4 times.
He's not going to overcome that.
Unbelievable.
And you're exactly right. I like that he did make some plays on not just one drive, but probably about 3 drives. That was really nice to see. But the avalanche hit and it swallowed him up today, no doubt about it. The DNA of this was the DA of this too. what a flex for him. I didn't look. Do you have your board handy?
I always got the board handy. Hold on one second.
I think you were predicting a DA flex today, and I didn't see it coming because I didn't see that in the Bears defense so far this season. But maybe because DA was paying half attention to all the games they played in the first 6 weeks and paying full attention to flexing all over the Saints today because he.
What do you mean? The Bears had the highest turnover differential in the NFL. Been doing this all season long. That's why the Bears are 4-2. And the Bears, I'll tell you this right now, the Bears are not that good because they cannot sustain having +3 in turnover margin every single game. Fade the Bears. That's not to say they shouldn't have won, but you get +3 in the turnovers every single game. Yeah, you're going to be okay. You're going to be all right. You block a field goal, you do all that stuff every game. Yeah, you'll be okay.
Yeah, let me put one on here. There was no doubt. Like, look, like if you're him, you've been thinking about this.
Yeah.
For months. I can't see what I got. Yep, there it is.
You got 3. I got 1. I got more than 1.
You got 1 right now, man. You got 1. I keep score.
What the hell are we talking about?
You ain't winning that. You almost got the Olave again. 98 yards was right on it. I thought for sure this was going to be the game. I was going to give you credit for it just on delay, but he didn't get it. Yeah. DA came back. I mean, look, if you get fired from a job and you feel it's unjust and you have a chance to get revenge, like there aren't a lot of people that are going to.
He talked about it in the post-game speech too. He felt good. He felt good today. He got that one today. They're 0-2 on those revenge matches. Not that Sean Payton was getting revenge against them, but reunion matches. That Denver loss was one of their ugliest of the season, right around this time last year. So, look, it's a team that's licking its wounds right now and rebuilding. And I know that's what you wrote about. I know you talked about it in other segments, but this was the reality check game. Seattle wasn't even a reality check. Seattle was oh man, what happens if everything goes wrong in the first quarter? Like there's no making up for it. This team has not arrived there. It's not going to arrive for a while game.
Last point on this too, before we move on. Like also, we've seen kind of 2 games now where again, Seattle, he got screwed by the circumstances. Circumstances were bad again today though, but 2 times now where they've had to lean kind of on the quarterback for them to have a prayer to come back. Can't play the the mixed down football. And it didn't go well.
That ain't it for any young quarterback on a talent depleted team. The answer is not in New York. The more Jackson Dart throws, the worse their chance of winning. In Tennessee, the more Cam Ward's throwing, the worse chance they have to win. In New Orleans, the more Spencer Rattler's throwing, the worse chance they have to win. They got to play a mixed, balanced offense. That's how it is. What happens when What happens when New York turns the ball over 5 times and Jackson darts erratic downfield and spin? Like, that's not what they want to do. That's not what any of these teams want to do. That's not what you want your rookie quarterback to be doing. Or your whatever, your young quarterback on a bad team. You want a balanced, run-heavy, like that's almost every team, honestly. Like the Lions, if the Lions cannot run at all, and they're averaging 2 yards a carry, and Jared Goff's got to throw it 60 times, their win percentage is going to go down. They got to be able to run it. So, yeah, I mean, if we can't run at all, and it's up to Spencer Rattler to throw it 50-plus times to try and win us a game, yeah, that is not the way to do it.
Go well. So the next time it happens, you got to see it, or those are the things that open doors. The difference between, Trevor Siemian and Jameis Winston was that Jameis Winston could win a couple of games when he was a starter. Trevor Siemian couldn't. And even Jameis Winston didn't win consistently enough to be a starting quarterback. But every now and then you gotta show you can't always automatically be got behind in the game. It's over.
Look,
it can't be that.
Spencer deserves the microscope. He took it upon himself too. He didn't try to deflect anything today. But this was also Kellen Moore's lowest point of the season. The Bears had the number 31 ranked run defense in the NFL.
Yeah, the run thing was just crazy. I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, and it was ugly. I mean, Alvin looked horrible. This was, I mean, this might have been Alvin's worst game I can remember, of just like how it looked. Like it just looked like there was never anything there. There was no juice at all. I don't know if it was the line or the whatever, but it was just, I mean, nothing. Absolutely nothing at all.
Coming into this game, they've given up, was it like 150 yards a game? And the Saints had some 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1s, boom, boom, uppercut.
Yeah, the 4th and 1 with Alvin, LOL. That was never, ever, ever. And I wonder, and I said it during the game and I said it after the game, but I wonder why, like, we're not doing anything on the ground. We're not doing anything at all. Like, why is Taysom not in on 4th and 1, 3rd and 1? Unless he's just not healthy enough, or he's not ready, or he's not there, or his legs aren't about him, or whatever. There's a lot of different factors. But, I mean, how's there not a different plan? It's just, even just like, all right, let's just do some Taysom quarterback powers here. Like, let's try and do something different. But again, I mean, he might not be available or ready or up to, who knows? But yeah, I mean, the run game was just really bad. And that's why it was so surprising, was that the Bears have been bad against the run. It's like the Bills game. The Bills are bad against the run. We said that. And we had success on the ground. Okay. Like, it was so opposite. It was so different in so many different ways. It blew my mind. If you were to show me the box score and just show me the Bears receivers, I would have thought we won the game. Like, I think DJ Moore had 3 catches. Luther Burden had 1 catch. Rome Odunze had a long of 20. He had like 2 catches, 3 catches. They didn't really do anything. The receivers were held in check. Caleb Williams was held in check. He didn't run around. He threw an interception. Like, everything was cool. And then you showed me DeAndre Swift. I'm like, what the hell happened?
Knockout punch in this game where they couldn't get the yard. They couldn't establish a run on early downs, and they couldn't get the yard on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 today. Just a overall failure of the offense today.
Yeah.
Continuing this conversation.
All right, there you go. Yeah. Spencer Rattler's worst day as a pro. Ladies and gentlemen, get on down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.